Ambassador Sarah Chen stood before the Galactic Council's crystalline amphitheater, her small human frame dwarfed by the towering representatives of dozens of species. The Vraxian delegate, a creature of chitinous armor and compound eyes, clicked, its mandibles in what passed for laughter among its kind. "The humans request membership in our council," High Chancellor Zeftak announced, his four arms spreading wide in theatrical mockery. "These mammals who still crawl upon a single world, who have barely mastered fusion power, who wage wars among themselves like primitive beasts." The chamber erupted in a cacophony of alien sounds, hisses, chirps, and harmonic resonances that served as laughter across 100 worlds. Sarah remained perfectly still, her dark eyes reflecting the bioluminescent displays that served as the council's voting apparatus. "Your species shows promise," continued the ethereal Kolnari representative, its voice a symphony of crystalline chimes. "But you are centuries behind the least advanced council member. Return when you have conquered disease, hunger, and the need for physical bodies. When you have cities that span systems," added the serpentine Siskar delegate. "When your minds can merge with quantum networks, when you transcend the weakness of flesh, then perhaps we will consider your application." Sarah stepped forward, her magnetic boots clicking against the station's deck plating. "Honored delegates, you speak of transcendence, of abandoning the flesh, of cities spanning systems." She paused, reaching into her diplomatic pouch. "We humans have a saying, actions speak louder than words." She activated a small device, no larger than her palm. The chamber's central holographic display flickered to life, showing what appeared to be empty space, a region between star systems where only cosmic dust should drift. "Computer magnify sector designation Alpha 77, Sarah commanded. The image zoomed in, revealing what looked like debris at first glance. But as the resolution increased, gasps echoed through the chamber. The debris had structure, patterns, an impossible geometric complexity that hurt to contemplate directly. "What are we looking at?" Chancellor Zeftak demanded, his casual arrogance evaporating. "These are humanity's true cities," Sarah replied, her voice carrying across the now silent chamber. "We call them nomad spheres. Each one houses 50 million humans, complete ecosystems, manufacturing capabilities, and defensive systems you cannot imagine." The display shifted, showing the interior of one such sphere. Vast spaces opened like impossible caverns, filled with hanging gardens, flowing water, and structures that seemed to grow rather than be built. Humans moved through the spaces, some walking on surfaces that curved into impossible orientations, others flying through the air with mechanical wings. "For 300 years, Sarah continued, while you believed we were confined to Earth, we were building these cities in the deep void between stars. We didn't abandon our flesh, we made it stronger. We didn't replace our minds with machines. We enhanced them while keeping our humanity intact." She gestured, and the display showed the spheres in motion, traveling at speeds that should have been impossible for structures so massive. "They move using principles your physics haven't discovered yet. We learned to fold space not through abandoning matter, but by understanding it more completely than you thought possible." The Vraxian delegate's mandibles clicked nervously. "Even if this is real, which we doubt, these floating cities cannot compare to our galactic networks, our quantum consciousness grids." "Computer, show them the network," Sarah interrupted. The display exploded with activity. Lines of force connected the spheres across impossible distances, creating a web that spanned not just solar systems but reached into dimensions the Council's instruments couldn't detect. Information, consciousness, and matter flowed along these, connections in patterns of devastating complexity. "We never needed to abandon our bodies," Sarah explained, "because we learned to exist in multiple states simultaneously. Every human you see here is simultaneously existing in their physical form on our spheres and as quantum information in our network. We didn't transcend flesh, we multiplied it across space and time." The chamber had gone completely silent. Even the ambient hum of the station's systems seemed muted in the face of what they were seeing. High Chancellor Zeftak's voice cracked as he spoke. How many of these cities exist?" Computer. Full network display. The hologram expanded beyond the boundaries of the display chamber, projecting into space itself. Thousands upon thousands of connection points lit up, spreading across the galaxy like a vast neural network. Some clustered around known star systems, others floated in the deep void, and still others existed in spaces between dimensions that shouldn't have been accessible to physical matter. 47,312 spheres, Sarah said quietly. Each one home to populations larger than most council worlds, connected by quantum tunnels that allow instantaneous communication and travel across galactic distances, powered by forces drawn from the quantum foam itself. She deactivated the device and the display faded back to the council's standard configuration. You asked us to return when we had conquered disease, hunger, and physical limitations. We conquered disease 4 centuries ago. We eliminated hunger 5 centuries ago. As for physical limitations, she smiled, and for a moment, her form seemed to flicker, as if she existed in multiple places simultaneously. We never saw our bodies as limitations. We saw them as foundations to build upon. The silence stretched on for long minutes. Finally, the ethereal Kolnari representative spoke, its crystalline voice subdued. Why? Why reveal this now? You could have remained hidden, built your empire without interference. Because, Sarah replied, we learned something in building our floating cities, something you may have forgotten in your rush to transcend physical existence. Strength isn't about abandoning what makes you who you are. It's about taking those essential qualities and building something greater, while keeping them intact. She turned to address the entire chamber. Humanity requests membership in the Galactic Council not as supplicants seeking approval, but as equals offering partnership. Our cities in the void aren't hiding places. They're invitations. The universe is vast enough for all of us, if we're wise enough to work together. Chancellor Zeftak looked at the voting display, then at his fellow representatives. For the first time in the Council's 1,000-year history, the vote was unanimous. Welcome to the Galactic Council, he said quietly. Humanity of the floating cities. Sarah smiled and activated her quantum communicator. Across the galaxy, in 47,000 hidden cities, humanity prepared to step into the galactic community, not as the weak species they had pretended to be, but as the civilization they had built in the darkness between the stars.